Alright, Chapter 3 Electrically Controlled Pneumatic Implementation Costs and Benefits. Several key factors for the directly derived electrically controlled pneumatic brake implementation cost for the benefit cost ratio implementation decisions um, made regarding these costs for the critical to the financial overcome electrically controlled pneumatic brakes for all stakeholders. Similarly, are several quantifiable electrically controlled pneumatic benefits, but they also key for the outcome in addition with a large number of the more difficult to measure operating and safety benefits. Further cost of the freight car potential freight car cost of the fleet of 1.4 million units to be converted with electrically pneumatic technology towards near 50 to 1 locomotive pool, approximately 29,000 units for the event. Even certain storage in the transit car type that only converted electrically controlled pneumatic technology. Later, the conversion program, the cost of the complexity of the electrically controlled pneumatic installation for over 1 million cars, and is still enormous and probably unprecedented in the rail industry. While the potential cost of $40,000 per unit, the price tag converting a locomotive to the electrically controlled pneumatic brake technology, obviously consequence for any technology development. The other significant savings for the per unit cost of the freight car conversion can greatly improve. The car conversion average of $4,000 per car, estimated to exceed 80% of the total conversion cost. Like multi-year nature of the conversion program, stakeholders will need to pay for the continued attention to technology developments for the electrically controlled pneumatic implementation cost survey. Savings total conversion timetable, the frame, the example 15 years should not be assumed to be a technology stagnant period. 3.2 Standalone versus overlay conversion. The decision made on share of the conversion of the standalone version versus overlay with another with a major electronic control pneumatic cost factor. These are all new freight cars, for example, the brake supplier industry. They estimated that at the time of the electrically controlled pneumatic state alone expected to add about $3,000 over above the price take over the freight car conventional brakes. The equipment infrastructure for the new equipment overlay with the capability could add another be $1,500 for the standalone cost per unit. Retrofitting existing conventional brake freight cars and reducing another cost parameter estimated currently $5,000 per car to equip the overlay service. Clearly, the most effective for the move of the standalone electrically controlled pneumatic brake systems instead of installing and maintaining two brake system overlay method mode, but that in turn requires electrically controlled pneumatic equipment. Locomotives to be able to for a majority of the freight car moves the part of the rational making the dedicated PRB coal basin first conversion candidates for the say itself contain movement so for the highest likelihood to keep the environment electrically controlled pneumatic converted locomotives able to stand on electrically controlled pneumatic coal train sets. 3.3 Installation economies of scale and experience conversion will cost management above the base on small production volume with electrically controlled pneumatic equipment and limited installation experience with the decisions made at the beginning phase of the implementation produced the ramp up. The more formalized installation agreements will be initiated as the volume-based conversion be expected to produce perhaps significantly current electrically controlled pneumatic costs of both freight cars and locomotives. Throughout the report, the comparison of the benefit of the cost for the lowest variable and they are likely to reality, but the given experience that decline of the conversion cost due to the economies of scale of the experience and experience the direction of the anticipated change of the car's cost and clearly impossibility project requires a magnitude of cost decline, large scale implementation, determination, actual practice at prices, and other data benefits of the conducting initial and phase implementation, such as sizable PRB coal fleet. 3.4 Anticipated fuel saving electrically controlled pneumatic brake technology. Diverse operation will present with the electrically controlled pneumatic brakes as discussed in section 2. Start with the graduated brake release, the eliminating power brake count necessary train stops and starts expect with the yield sizable dollar benefit to reduce the fuel consumption for the Class 1 railroad spent more than $6 billion on diesel fuel in 2005. The control pneumatic driving fuels, saving the range from 5 to 10% of the estimated prior study for the current for the panel with the curve of the figure for the 5% for the consistent with the cream for the Quebec Carter mining electrically controlled pneumatic operations in Canada. Thanks to there is potential for $300 million in saving the industrial-wide conversion electrically controlled pneumatic brake systems at the current final assumption. Price of the put saving the content that they would support more than $2.2 billion in initial investment rate return with 12% over a 20-year period. Clear for the potential fuel saving that must be taken into account with the electrically controlled pneumatic benefit cost analysis of the procedure must be established for measuring accurately a possible actual result during the first phase of the implementation. 3.5 Wheel saving. The wheels are more one component of the freight car can provide with the maintenance savings done with electrically controlled pneumatic operation. However, the sheer magnitude of the industrial expenditure of the wheel with the replacement warrants signaling Signaling them out would have been significantly benefit of the conversion of the electrically controlled pneumatic brake system. Recent study of the Transportation Technology Corporation Incorporated found that the rail freight industry spends more than 37% of the annual freight car repair costs and 1.5 billion euros on wheel replacement, representing 555 million with the data for the calendar year 2000. Costs undoubtedly high now, but particularly light with the recent industry with the progressive programs earlier with the detection a replacement of the wheel defects. One with a new key finding for the study of the wheel, approximately 21% of the 100-car coal gondolas from the two North American classes, two for average car's owner. Brake-related failures were found to reduce the lifespan of the wheels more than 50% with the 393,006 miles, average of 195,406 miles, with the converting assumption of the net present value of the cost brake-related wheel failure of this fleet estimated with $8,100 per car, but did not include the value of the out of service time. Several items are now noteworthy for the study. First, saving the $8,100 per car, well in excess of the per conversion of the electrically controlled pneumatic estimated with a half amount, with the second of the wheel replacement the unit with the cost that has risen and stuff the value of the per wheel set cost $1,000. Information panel indicating per wheel set replacement cost now $1,205.50. Could range as high as $1,500, even as the lower end of the range of $1,250, resulting 12% increase in per unit wheel replacement cost translate from conservative to estimate of $700 million annual wheel repair expenditure with the applied with the year of the 2000 data. Despite the Transportation Technology Center Incorporated study, the expert panel now did not feel comfortable, assuming the electrically controlled pneumatic brakes would eliminate all brake-related wheel defects. Conservatives settled on half of such defects, which translate $175 million annually with the entire freight car fleet. Heavy haul, high mileage would account for the disproportional high share of the savings. 3.6 Savings on brake inspection. Assuming the FRA granted regulatory relief, the single largest cost saving of the brake in the inspection category appeared with eliminating 1,000 miles of intermediate terminal brake as for the train operation electrically controlled pneumatic operating current regulation conventional brake train requires stop terminal with the inspection of every 1,000 miles of the brakes of the car to be inspected, determined whether the fully functional with the requirement of non-excessive in the terms of the during inspection. Cost more importantly, in terms of overall train delay, the trains have been pulled over the road of services to cube the congested terminals awaiting inspection. Electrically controlled pneumatic brake systems. These constant wire-based monitoring of the brake condition of all the cars, hence no need of the pull over the physically inspect the brakes every 1,000 miles after the initial terminal departure. The estimated 250,000 trains is subject to the intermediate terminal brake inspection in 2004. More than 10 years ago, the AAR calculated the cost of the intermediate brake tested at $450 per train, included but in both directly and delayed costs of the inspection, general inflation, growing congestion of the rail network. Conservative to assume the cost is at least 10% greater than 10 years after $500 per train and $250,000 in train. The unit cost of intermediate brake testing equals about $125 million. The second type of air brake test required by the EU of the current regulation periodic single car air brake test with its self-diagnostic capabilities. Electrically controlled pneumatic brake system streamline much of the periodic test, reduce the cost of approximately 75% of the base for the AAR data. But there are almost 800,000 single car air brake tests performed in a freight car train annually with the cost of about $84 per car. With the test streamline indicated with the translate an additional savings of approximately $48 million. 3.7 Savings on brake shoes. In addition to the wheel set of the second freight car with the component would serve as the life of the significantly expected with the engine electrically controlled pneumatic operation of the brake shoe. The unit with the cost of the brake shoe small, with an order of $7. A great purchase for the railroads consuming large spending with the AR data represented with the panel 3 with an indicator the railroad spent in excess of $7 million on brake shoe replacing during the 9-month period of the annualized $45 million. Experience of the actual electronically controlled pneumatic operation of the heavy hauls for the Quebec Carrier Mining Railroad Canada indicate the brake shoe life prolonged 20 to 25% with the electrically controlled pneumatic brake system. Lower savings bound equates to another $9 million in benefits per year. 3.8. Increase the network capacity. One of the potential most significant benefits of the conversion mainline quarter of the electrically controlled pneumatic strip of the enhanced capacity without need for the major new equipment for the infrastructure for the investment in the initial electronically controlled pneumatic brake technology for example, the Sportnet found that reduced the export coal cycle over the time now 9%. Electrically controlled pneumatic brake system permits a more rapid overroad movement because of the train did not have the artificially slow stop mean recharging lack of gradual release limitation conventional air brakes result of the greater than throughput with existing single block configuration. Given the sharply growing with the demand for the rail service, freight service, the financial potential for the with the capacity of the railroad substantial for the Union Railroad Pacific Railroad recently estimated that where each 1 mile per hour improvement in the overall system and average velocity with above 21 miles per hour, Union Pacific saved the 250 locomotive with the 5,000 freight cars that would otherwise require with the representative with the 3% of the locomotive fleet with the 5% of the total freight cars. It would cost $2 million per locomotive with the average of $500,000 per freight car with the save of the representative with $750 million for the Union Pacific Long Union Pacific fleet represented about 1/3 of the Class 1 locomotive and 1/4 of the Class 1 owned freight cars. Exporting with the $750 million, the Union Pacific saving the base of the U.S. classes is as a group translated industry-wide. Equipment saving the $2.5 billion for the 1 mile of the gain in a network velocity no system. Studies have been done with the country in relation to the electrically controlled pneumatic train with the handling of the potential gain of the average velocity of the establishing linkage between the given investment of the electrically controlled pneumatic braking system. Change of the average network velocity are likely to be even more difficult than training tracks fuel saving the electrically controlled pneumatic braking system. In addition, projected equipment size of having higher overroad train standard need for the management of the gain but can be lost with the added terminal delay. On light of the Sportnet cycle at the time of the agreement, however, the capital expenditure stayed with the exceptional electrically controlled pneumatic brakes for the yield of the capacity gain of the equipment savings doesn't accept for the cost saving when the fuel car components need to be further explored during the phase 1 implementation process. 3.9. Other costs saving the additional potential cost saving with the conversion electrically controlled pneumatic brakes should not be overlooked, even though they're not readily quantifiable. For the wire feature of the electrically controlled pneumatic brake off a converted train would reliably reduce the cost associated purchase maintenance incentive of the train. Electrically controlled pneumatic brakes systems can also produce the cassette for the train force eventual brake damage coupled with the accident, occasional landing associated with damage. Power brake takes over the toll, but not just for the wheel, but also track structure from the necessary change of the premature rail wear. A electronically controlled pneumatic brake system can also produce the key of the monitoring of all the benefits also in cause of the electrically controlled pneumatic brake system will design with the data capture program and initial installation process. There's each potential benefit cost for the drive for the tree, post electrically controlled pneumatic measurement comparison. Alright, 310 safety benefit. There are many quantities unknown but the safety benefit of the electrically controlled pneumatic brake system. For example, the clear with the stopping diff, the longer for the heaviest trim of the electrically controlled pneumatic will reduce about much of 70% of the relative deterrent situation with conventional brakes for long cold trim with the current stopping distance almost 2 miles. The reduction of the representative of the material improvement the safety potential advancement of the both end route and the grade collision for the future accident would preventable with enhanced safety with a difficult quantifiable even with the benefits of real one, albeit with a mention for the safety benefit of the electrically controlled pneumatic. However, the reported damage for the injuries real accident with the database have caused codes that are associated with the conventional brake failures, human effort associated with the brake-related train handling. For a 5-year period entering 2004, there was a total of nearly $40 million in reportable damage, 18 non-fatal injuries from such accidents. Additional preventable accidents, reduction in accident severity, important benefit for the electrically controlled pneumatic. If a train electrically controlled pneumatic significantly reduces the speed prior to the otherwise unavoidable collision, this would reduce the level of injuries, property damage compared to current outcomes of conventional brakes. Chapter 4.3 Electrically controlled pneumatic implementation alternatives.